might have done that. Let's talk about some refs, okay? Let's talk about a situation that's been brewing, okay? Every time they run the play, they cheat.
Oh, man.
Every time they run the play, they jump off sides. Nobody ever calls it. It's a point of emphasis. Hey, can't be doing it. Everybody's got to be on the line of scrimmage. We've got to make sure we're not jumping off sides. You're calling on everybody else. You're not calling on Philadelphia Eagles. And then yesterday, or as Dan Orlovsky says, this was egregious. Now, the original tweet that hit the internet that everybody saw said the whistle was blown early. Whistle was never blown. They just went back. Whistle
This
wasn't
is a great play.
Whistle wasn't blown until Thibodeau had the ball in his hand. So, whistle is not blown until, right there. After he has the ball. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, so they said it was a stop of forward progress, which is why they called it. But he's the one lunging forward. So what we think happened is that the refs actually thought that was a goal line.
Yes.
And it was like, nope, that's a touchdown. Go ahead and just keep it moving. And we've heard a lot of, New York expedited review dropping into people's ears saying, hey, this ain't right, we can fix this. They didn't do that here. So now everybody's saying, Philadelphia Eagles are on the take. This is exactly what we've been saying about the tush push. And it's going to continue to get real loud, especially as these plays continue to happen. Now, did this ultimately decide the game? No, but it even happening, AJ, I think people are like, this can't be real life, especially with all the conversation around it already.
No, I thought this was a fumble for sure, but you knew they weren't going to be able to change it because of how they do the stupid rules and whatever. They say the whistle was blown, even though it wasn't. Now, the whistle was not blown. They said it was. The refs know going forward, do not, let's wait a beat before we blow the whistle. This can happen. This is a real-life situation. I hope they know going forward that and a point of emphasis should be to not blow the whistle until he truly is stopped, even if he has the ball like this.
Yeah, just when it's in the field of play, call it as a football play. Yeah. I think that's what refs need to be told. I genuinely think he was viewing it like it was the end zone. Tush push, we know what this is about. Yep, he did it again. He did it again. 92%ers or whatever they call it. And obviously this gets very loud, especially from Giants fans who are in the same division. Hey, what are we supposed to do with everything going on? They got this going on. Is that not your exact reaction, Bruce Brown?
Yeah, it's an absolute farce. They can't enforce the false starts that happen basically every other time they run it. And now he's reaching forward in the same motion that Thibodeau takes it, and they say his forward progress is stopped. Absolute joke, man. It's a travesty.
Now, that's a Giants fan. It's Overreaction Monday, but he's not the only one that feels that way. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who has traveled to Kansas City. We do not believe he's on the call, but we know he's going to be live for Monday Night Football. Ladies and gentlemen, the quarterback and Dan for ESPN, Dan Orlovsky.
Dan-o!
Thanks for joining us, Dan, from the back of a very nice SUV, it appears. We were just chit-chatting about the tush push there, about the call yesterday and the egregiousness of it all. And obviously, Philadelphia gets back on track doing their thing. Obviously, terrible injury to Scadaboo in this. And I think we all believe in the Giants, though, right? Don't we all kind of believe in the Giants going forward?
Direction for sure.
I think we all believe in the Giants going forward. But also, the Philadelphia Eagles got back to who we think they are, with Saquon Barkley going absolutely crazy, and then this taking place. Your kind of takeaway not only on this play, but the Eagles yesterday as a whole, Dan Orlovsky.
Well, on this play, the NFL's lucky that it doesn't really have an impact on the game, because if it did, there would be massive uproar. I've never really had a passionate take or feeling on either side of the whole tush-push thing, but after watching this, I'm out on it. I can respect it and appreciate for everything that it's been accomplished and whatnot, but we can't have this play in football where it's a clear and obvious fumble to every human being that has ever watched a game, but for some reason in a whistle and whatnot, it's just a play right now that I think is impossible for officials to defend fairly, I guess, or equally. So this play for me is got to be one that we move away from.
Oh, Dan! Okay, Dan. All right, Dan. Dan doesn't want a football play to happen.
What if they ref it correctly, though? What if the refs start calling it?
That's the thing. It's the way it's officiated. I don't know if you can, AJ. I don't know. I don't know, since it's such a unique play, if you can.
I was just overreacting because that's what you hear from Johns and super duper football people saying, if everybody can do this and it's an easy play, why didn't everybody do this? and it's an easy play. This is a skill that we have. And then now with all the super duper slowdown, it's like, well, the skill is also kind of cheating a little bit, and the refs not being able to call it. Not that that's the Eagles' fault. The Eagles can do whatever the hell they want. They ran it 4 straight times, primetime TV. Mm-hmm. You don't like it? Watch it. Here it is even more. They got to do what they got to do to win a game. They did that. Let's talk about tonight's game that you're on your way to. Commanders taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, a lot of blowouts yesterday. Do you forecast another one this evening, or do you think Marcus Mariota, Cliff Kingsbury, and the Commanders are going to be able to keep this one a battle and maybe even win this thing, Dano? Maybe even beat the Chiefs on Monday night?
No, I expect this to be one-sided. Washington defensively keep Patrick under 350 yards. This is a Washington defense that has just really struggled, and Kansas City has absolutely hit his stride offensively in the last month or so. The addition of the 2 receivers has been absolutely tremendous. But the real thing is some of like their schematic changes. There's a lot that they throw at you right now. They protect Patrick, and it's, hey, if the shot's there, great. If not, go run around and make a play because we've given you time to go create. You see some of their 4-by-1 formations that when they get in those 4-by-1 formations, there are so many different options that they can get to offensively. Rasheed one-on-one, the speed of Xavier Worthy, Hollywood down in the red zone, their willingness to run the football. It has not been ridiculous, the run game, but just the ability to run it and be efficient and have the willingness to do it. I just don't believe that Washington can match up. Dorrance Armstrong was Washington's really best pass rusher so far this year. He's out. They're struggling in coverage mightily. They're struggling to get pressure. If Kansas City plays up to their game, this should be a 35-plus point game for their offense.
That would not be good for the NFL. First time since 1970, or second time since 1970, where only one game was decided by one score or less. Yeah, here it is. One game decided by single digits on Sunday.
Wow.
Jets and Bengals. That's since 1970. Shout out to ESPN Research and Hembo. And maybe tonight just makes it a full clean sweep on its entirety. Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah, Dano, the Packers obviously last night looked very good against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jordan Love, when you watch him play, are you seeing, like, he looked pretty damn good last night. What do you see when you watch him progress, like, as a player in this league? He seems to me like he is supremely confident, and I just love that he takes shots down the field and he's not scared.
Yeah, if their under center play action game is working, you can't stop their offense. You just got to hope that you can hold them down in the red zone. That's when they're at their best. Their offensive line has not played great this year, so that under center is a big deal. And then Jordan's just being really great with his decision making. This is the guy that has for a couple years now been crushed with his decision making, or in many people's eyes that he's been a poor decision maker. His decision making has been as good as basically any quarterback in football this year. Jordan Loves. And then, you know, the way that they use their different personnel, you see Tucker Kraft in one-on-one situations, the way that they create Dodd for situations, the check down game for them has been really consistent. You know, the Williams use, they've got a lot of different pieces. They don't really need a number one receiver. Now, let me say this. Christian Watson being back was absolutely enormous. Christian Watson, when he's healthy and impacting their offense, just because his size and strength, they don't really have a size, speed, strength guy at the wide receiver spot outside of Christian. So when Christian's there, it's a different offense. I love the way that Jordan's been playing this year. I think he's playing the best football of his career.
Let's go down to Houston, Texas, with a huge win for them. It feels like they needed this. Go ahead, Tone.
Yeah, Dan, 30 of 39 for 318, I believe, is what C.J. Stroud had. Would I be wrong in saying this is the best game he looked since probably his rookie season? And what do you think was the difference in this game versus the Houston Texans offense for the rest of the year, which has had flashes but not really been great?
Yeah, 100%. That's the best game that CJ's played since 2023. Couple things. The 2 young receivers really stepped up. Noel and Higgins were outstanding. And then CJ played, you know, when you guys hear football talk, you've often heard people like me say he played hot, right? Defense brings a blitz. Sometimes defense brings like a pressure, and you know that everybody's one-on-one blocking, and we call that playing warm as a quarterback. He played warm really well, and that doesn't mean that. And let me say this, that's something that they have in Houston really struggled with in the last year and a half, is like dealing with pressure, both by a plan and execution. He was sensational yesterday. And then the other side, the flip side of this is you see no Bosa, no Huff show up. I mean, they could not, San Francisco, get near CJ. CJ at times had plenty of opportunity to get to this from the second or third progression. So the two young receivers, CJ was outstanding when it came to just playing warm and playing on time. He got through progressions. And then if you're San Francisco, it's a precursor. Maybe it's a little bit of like a concern warning sign of God bless, we couldn't get anywhere near the quarterback.
Let's move away from the AFC South and let's go to the AFC North. Conman has a question for you, Dano.
Yeah, Dan, out of nowhere, not really out of nowhere, because everyone thought the Ravens were going to be great, and they still might have that in front of them. They're currently minus 105 to win the AFC North, but they're 2-5. The Steelers are 4-3. The Bengals are 3-4. How should we feel about the Ravens? Do you think Lamar coming back? Are they going to really start to go now? Derrick Henry, gets in the end zone twice yesterday. So do you think the Ravens should be the favorites in the NFC or AFC North? And what should our expectations then be for the Steelers and Bengals in that division?
Yeah, I still say that Pittsburgh is the favorite. Obviously, last night and the past 2 weeks, there's conversations around them. But let me say this about Baltimore. It's tough to really gauge offensively. They ran the ball a little bit better. They got the ball to Zay Flowers. They were creative in some of their play calls down the red zone. Bateman won on some one-on-one routes. But yesterday really was about Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton. Yes. Those two guys played so much better, specifically Roquan, than he had at the really beginning of the season. Kyle as a blitzer was outstanding. Chicago really didn't have any plan for what pressure was going to look like or how to pick it up. So I'm encouraged by the Ravens, but mainly because of the way that the defense and those two defensive stars played. This is a very, very poor decision. Let me talk about this play, right, for Caleb before we end up with the Ravens. See how long it takes from him to when he gets the top of his drop to the ball gets out of his hands. Ball's out now. See, he's late. So that's when everyone this whole offseason was talking about timing and rhythm. I bet you from the time he gets to the top of his drop to that ball comes out of his hands, push it a second. That's way too long. Ball should be out now. So you're probably half a second late, and the ball should go to the flat. So it's an outstanding interception, but that's what gives you concern. And that's why I've talked about for the last 3 or 4 weeks with Caleb is like the inconsistency has really been prevalent over the last month with his play. There's been moments, but inconsistency. But I do think if you're Baltimore, you have to be encouraged by the way the defense played.
Okay, let's talk about Caleb a little bit more. This is his first time really doing this Ben thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, so now we're kind of at the mid-season point, and the Bears, they had a nice little winning streak there, got knocked off yesterday. But what is kind of your mid-season report card on Caleb Williams and this Ben Johnson relationship?
I'd give Caleb a C right now if I was giving him a grade. It would be about as average as it could be. And there's been moments, where early in the season, there was stretches where he looked very good. And then there's been a drive here or there in the last 4 or 5 weeks where he's made like a good clutch throw and you feel encouraged. But what has been prevalent over the last month or so is, 1, holding on to the football. 2, and this is where I'm most concerned with D-Butt, is it's the extreme of playing way too fast or playing way too slow, where we haven't found that sweet spot for Caleb yet, where sometimes you're so sped up. Even yesterday, there's 3 or 4 clips where, he's so sped up and playing so fast that you're ready to throw the football before the receiver's even remotely close to out of his cut or out of his break, or the window is going to be open. Or you're playing slow, like on that interception, where you get to the top of your drop, and instead of hitching, like he stands flat-footed. Look at him. He just stops there. That's not how that offense is operated. That's not how that pass game, that play-action game is operated. It is all about the timing of your feet. And so I'm not sounding the alarms here, but what I am saying is this last month or so, he's kind of been stuck, and they got to get him to consistently play to the right pace with his drop and the timing of their concepts. Because until he does, it's just not going to be what it should be offensively.
We hear what you're saying. You got to get there fast and then take it slow. Right?
That Brett Michaels?
That's where we want to go. Way down in
Cocoa.
Bermuda.
He was about to finish it.
Yeah, I was about to finish it.
Baby, why don't we go? We'll get there fast and then we'll take it slow. That's where we wanna go. Away from Dano. That's what.
Dang.
Is that the song?
Yeah.
That's where we
I
want
don't think that's the words, no.
Those are original lyrics.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard it in there.
You know who that is?
You're talking about Caleb, maybe rushing through or maybe taking his time. There's other quarterbacks here that out of nowhere in the MVP conversation alongside Jonathan Taylor. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Dano, there are a couple guys, specifically Drake Maye, though. He is doing stuff week in and week out that we've seemingly never seen before or either haven't seen since Tom Brady. Are you surprised at how quickly his development has kind of skyrocketed, how good he's got? And also, how far can Drake Maye take the Patriots playing like this?
He could absolutely take them to a division title, and I'm not surprised by it. I called a couple of his games in college. He's a tremendous player, and I'm not surprised by it also because Josh McDaniels is freaking unreal. I fudging love what's going on in New England.
Can't say that.
Fudge, yeah, dude.
They're the reverse of tendency. They throw so much at you, dude. Connor, I'm sure you watched the game yesterday. There's a drive in the third quarter that starts at like 11 minutes, and they throw 6 or 7 straight plays of different personnel, different formations, same motion, but different play. It's nuts. And Josh McDaniels, and when I say reverse of tendencies, they throw so many different personnel groupings at you. Sometimes there's 2 backs. Sometimes there's 2 tight ends. They throw so many different looks at you when it comes to Josh McDaniels will always call a play in the first quarter. And then there's always going to be a different play off of a very similar look in the second quarter. And then there's always going to be a very similar play off of those same initial 2 looks in the third quarter. Kayshon Boutte is a top 5 receiver in the NFL right now when it comes to touchdowns, when it comes to yards per catch.
Whoa.
That's insane how impressive that connection has been. Drake's playing unbelievable football. I don't know if there's a guy, there's no question he's playing top 5 football right now, and it's good enough to no question win them division.
Okay, and this is a stat from Hembo here talking about the completion percentage, normally reserved for just pocket passers and rhythm offenses. Look at the rush yards Drew Brees had, 25 of them whenever he was completing this. Jared Goff had 16 rush yards this far. Tom Brady had 25 rush yards. Cool. This guy's got 250 rush yards alongside a 75% completion percentage. So it's like what he's doing is exactly what he did in North Carolina.
Yeah.
North Carolina, he led the team in rushing, and he led it obviously in passing. And then you talk about his feet, and Caleb, he's only gotten better, right? It feels like, because everybody talked about him maybe not being able to operate in an NFL system because he's too athletic.
Yeah.
This guy's too athletic. He's been too used to being the most athletic guy. McDaniels has just got him to lock in, or has this been something he's been doing since he got there?
That's the thing that is the surprising thing, I would say, is, when he was at North Carolina, there wasn't a lot of rhythm and timing offense. It was a heavy RPO, throw the ball downfield offense, and he was an elite at it. He was elite, but you didn't see a lot of things that were going to carry over into the NFL. I think the thing that's been most surprising about Drake Maye is he plays on time, he plays on rhythm, and he never looks too fast for him. When the ball's that's an unbelievable read right there. I believe he throws that ball to Travion Henderson, a tailback. Another lovely play call and design where that ball is thrown over the top. So I think that's the thing that's most surprising about Drake is you've watched this pocket passing, on time development. Another beautiful play called development. But he never looks sped up. He never looks hurried. He never looks out of control. It's just this constant, I'm in control. I know exactly what I'm looking at. And you know what the second thing that's probably been most impressive is? He never gets fooled with coverage. For a kid who just did not see a ton of different coverage schemes and rotations in college, he never gets fooled with coverage because Cleveland threw a lot at him coverage-wise yesterday. and it was like a walk in the park for that young man.
Myles Garrett had 5 sacks. They showed that highlight at the end. He was throwing his helmet down in anger as they were showing that he had a 5-sack game.
That's what he signed up for.
That one play, exactly, which is what everybody said. And then that one play there we showed, 3rd and 23, very good Cleveland Browns defense. They are picketing at the sticks, still picking up with delivery and everything he's got going on. Unbelievable. Good, Conman.
Yeah, he's 23 now. He won't be 24 till August. Jaden Daniels turns 24 during his rookie year, but you mentioned it with Myles Garrett. Like, he was getting a ton of pressure, and he never got rattled. He didn't get, like, the happy feet, oh, I might get hit. Like, he stood in the pocket, and he kept throwing the ball, and it's just one of those things where you would, you're just very excited about it.
Is that the little brother effect, you think?
Some of it, for sure. And coming from an athletic family, being able to take because the one thing about Josh McDaniels seems like he is a hard coach, too, like a hard-nosed coach, like sticks to the details. And all the things that you've seen behind the scenes with Drake, he seems like one of the most coachable guys, and that's one of the things you worry about, especially when you get to this level with quarterbacks and egos and things like that. So he's everything that Clyde Christian told us he would be. And now coaching, you see how much it matters on this level. And for all what you just said, for a guy that got sacked 5 times by one guy to not be sped up and to still be in control of being a young guy like that, the sky's the limit.
He's 3rd in MVP odds right now behind Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Daniel Jones plus 1,100, Drake Maye plus 450, Josh Allen plus 400. Mahomes plus 150 at ESPN Bet. Congratulations to these guys having incredible seasons. AJ has the last question for you, Dano.
Yeah, Dano, are the Dolphins fully back now with Tua? Obviously, big 34-10 victory over the Falcons. I assume you're back on the Dolphins?
No, but it was nice to see Tua look like Tua. I mean, it was just the elite timing that we've grown accustomed to. He did. He looked.
He had
really
a new
good.
eye. Danny advisor.
And one eye.
Oh, I'd say this though. In that game, it was the most physical I've seen Miami probably under Mike McDaniel. Just so much more physical in general. Their offense had an attitude to it. Their defense had an attitude to it. Atlanta could not do anything against that defense, but the physical commitment to run the football in a traditional style, a little bit of an old school style, and then Tua was just surgical with his timing, which is kind of what we've become accustomed to. That ball is nuts. Accustomed to with Tua. I'm not all the way back on him because obviously it's a long road and their injuries and lack of talent are real. But I will say outstanding performance on the road, but way more concerning in regards to Atlanta than it was like feeling positive about Miami.
Atlanta gets blown out by the Panthers, huge win. Blown out by the Dolphins, probably have a huge win going forward. Kirk Cousins obviously didn't look that spectacular in his season debut. Let's go back to Gumpy, Miami Dolphins superfan. We're back. We got the same record as the Ravens.
Yeah, we went with 6 linemen yesterday. 3-headed monster, Ollie Gordon, A-Chan, Jalen Wright out of Tennessee got some burn yesterday. I mean, we just pounded the rock, stopped the run. Physical football team yesterday.
Dan Orlovsky, you heard Tone Diggs say everybody's doing it. That's Artie Smith, Aaron Rodgers creating the new wave in the NFL of 6 offensive linemen and then getting a little bit more protection for the quarterback. Is that a Artie Smith Pittsburgh Steelers thing that you're going to have to give credit to on national television?
No, that's really a Joe Brady Buffalo thing from last year.
Wow.
But there's so many teams doing it right now. There's so many. I think there's like 5 or 6 things that if you're not doing in the NFL right now offensively, I just think you're behind the times.
Under center, like you've been saying for Philly?
You have to put the quarterback under center more. You're seeing more and more teams do it. Philadelphia does it. All of a sudden, there's good success. I mean, Philadelphia through week 5 or week 6 led the NFL in negatives. I don't know if they have 2 or 3 negatives in the last 2 weeks. They put Jalen under center way more than they have in the first 5 weeks. They've gone and used play action way more than they did in the first 5 weeks. They've thrown the ball in the middle of the field. So I think you got to put the quarterback under center. I think you got to go with 6 offensive linemen occasionally. I think you got to get in different 4-by-1 formations. I think you got to go early down play action. Those are the trends in the NFL right now that I think are massive.
No problem. Everybody should do all that.
Boom.
You're the man, ladies and gentlemen.
Look at that stat.
What are you doing? You got NFL Live out there?
Yes, sir.
How's the show going to be pretty good? How's the weather? It looks like it's a little gloomy doomy out there.
Yeah, it's gray. It's gray. It's not too cold, which I'll take. It's about 58, 59 degrees, but gray. There's a lot of gray right there.
What are you walking into there? Is that makeup? You're about to get all suited and booted?
This is like the new like central location on site. It's an RV.
Oh, sick.
Oh, sick. Yeah,
This is
sweet.
sick.
Yours, Thanos?
Hey.